Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you for episode 64 of the Priestess Transmission. Honestly, I can't believe it's episode 64. I always have to look it up before we start because I'm like, wait, what episode am I on? And yes, it's 64. And today's such a special one. I have my beautiful soul sister, friend, guest, Zoë Daly, who is transmitting from Ireland. And I'm here. If you missed all the messages I've been leaving. I'm in Mexico now. So here we are broadcasting from these two beautiful places on the planet. And we're here really for a special Divine Mother attunement. And I will be, we're each going to be sharing from our own medicine, our own lineage, and our own connections. Myself specifically to Our Lady of Guadalupe, and Zoe is going to be talking about Goddess Ériu. And, Zoe and I have been preparing for this without even knowing we were preparing for it. It was kind of like we have all these experiences that happen. And then I think it was last month that I was like, Zoe, I think we're meant to do an offering together again. And so we were like, okay. And it's like we've been prepared even unconsciously at times for this moment. So although Zoe and I definitely talked and came up with a plan, organically intuited and downloaded the plan, we also know that the Divine Mother is the one guiding this. So we're just also open to how this is going to unfold. I would love to see who's here. I see Roxana is here. That's so exciting. So if you want to put it in the chat, that would be lovely. One thing before I introduce Zoe a little more and let her share with us is if this is your first time joining or you just joined me, found me recently, Zoe and I have actually done 2 other transmissions together. And I went back to look because I was like, what number? So episode 25, that was the first one we did. And that was almost exactly a year ago. And we literally did not plan that. It was like November 9th. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then the next one we did right around Bridget's Day was episode 34. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I want to see more of them, go back and look at those episodes and you'll find us. So, all right. So actually, Zoe, what I'm feeling guided to do before we start is just do like a quick, not a long invocation, but let's just kind of open the space with everybody. Like I'll do a little quick prayer as we start, and then I'm going to hand it over to you, Zoe, so you can talk a little bit about your amazing business and creation, and just a little bit about what you want to share before we totally start. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Colleen, I'm so delighted to see you. Oh, friends, beautiful. California, Sylvia, great. All right. So let's just take a few cleansing breaths, everyone. And this is for all of you, whether you're here live or you're watching the replay. I know many of you join us in the replay. And as you take these breaths, feel the earth underneath you. All of us, wherever you are on the planet, call on Mother Earth. And I welcome each of your higher selves, each of your souls. I welcome each of your guardian angels. And I welcome those ascended master guides that are based in unconditional love that walk with you. Again, whether you're here live, whether you watch the replay today or 5 years from now or at any time, we're infusing this transmission with all of this love and grace. And of course, we open our hearts to the Divine Mother. Whatever name you have for her, we welcome the Divine Mother, and we welcome specifically Our Lady of Guadalupe and beautiful Goddess Ériu. And so with that, we just open up the space. Thank you, everyone. All right, so here we go. Zoë Daly from Dublin, Ireland. She is the co-founder of Ériu Luxury Yarn and Blankets. And actually I have one of her blankets. I will show that later. And it's just, we connected through all these amazing ways. We know we've been sisters before in other lifetimes. And I don't just say that, like it's really, we just know that. And so it's a joy and an honor to have you here, Zoe. So welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. It's such an honor to be here, and I love your gorgeous priestess transmissions and all of your crew that you gather, which are always emanating love. So it feels really special to be here, especially with you in Mexico. As we know, we talk a lot about Mexico and Ireland and the parallels that we feel. So it feels special to be placed in these locations. So yeah, as you introduced, I'm the co-founder of Ériu. We named the company Ériu. Ériu is the patron goddess of Ireland. She is a divine mother embodiment. Ireland is actually named after Ériu. Ériu is translated into, it's the Irish name for Éire, and the English version of that is Ireland. So Ériu is the goddess of sovereignty, fertility, and abundance. And we, in our business, we're reclaiming an ancient practice of working with wool. So unfortunately, in Ireland, our wool industry, of which we were once world leaders, we used to export wool all over the globe. We're famous for the Aran sweater. Everyone knows that. For the past few decades, went into a total decline. A very sad story happened. It was very devalued. We lost our industry. We lost a lot of our sheep breeds. Our farmers were very devalued. So myself and my partner Lionel, who's a farmer and businessman, we have been reclaiming this industry by incentivizing farmers to once again breed and grow these particular select breeds that we use for this luxury blend. And we have them on Lionel's farm. So we call that our farm to yard networks. So we make blankets primarily. The idea was seeded by my grandmother, who knit me a blanket 8 years ago. I wanted to recreate that. Yes, and Lisa calls them priestess blankets. So,
Yes, they
well,
are priestess blankets, like in a way, yes.
it's the whole vision. The whole company was always guided by Eru and the other sovereignty goddesses that was downloaded to me. They've been my guides for many years in my personal life, and they really seeded this whole vision. So I'm just carrying carrying it through, following through with the orders. Um, yeah, so we definitely pray. You know, my prayer is for the reclamation of this industry, to serve everybody, to regrow this industry, and that the products and the blankets and the yarn carry this vibration of the prayer of unification, really, and reclamation with our land and with these ancient practices, which is symbolic on so many levels. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit about that. It's hard to be succinct, I find, when I
Yeah,
start talking.
you did a great job. I thought that was beautiful. And I think what there's a couple of things Zoe said. So one, it is, first of all, like last time I did this, I was still in Chicago. Right now I'm in Mexico. And Zoe and I, even though I had never gone to Ireland when I met Zoe before, when we first met, did start feeling this, aside from the connection with each other, we just kept feeling like there's so much connection between Mexico and Ireland, which I know for some people I'd be like, huh, what, how? But we really felt this. For me specifically, my connection with Our Lady of Guadalupe, who in a lot of ways is considered the patron goddess of Mexico. Now, some people would not use the word goddess, but she is beloved here. She is everywhere you turn, there she is. And so when I learned through Zoe, I knew of Bridget and other Celtic goddesses. I had not heard of Eru. So well, first of all, just being with Zoe as she birthed this business, so led by the Divine Mother, right? Same for me and same for you. So I want you to think about, as we're talking, I know whatever we end up sharing, even though we have a plan, is there's something in it for you. So whatever you are birthing, I know there's many of you here that have your own businesses, whether they seem spiritual or not. There is, I truly believe, especially if you were called to this transmission, the Divine Mother behind all of it, right? That she's really leading us to come forward, to be in the world and not of it, as Ascended Master Jesus and many other masters have said. And so as Zoe talks about, the parts of her business and all of that, and it's also like, oh yes, and that's why I call them priestess blankets, because when I first put one on, I was like, oh my gosh, like this has a vibration of the earth. Same thing for my offerings and everything I do. I've come to really understand, oh, the Divine Mother, right? What is the Divine Mother? We're talking about Our Lady of Guadalupe today and Ériu. We're not suggesting these are the only aspects of the Divine Mother. They're two very powerful, beautiful ones that chose us as part of their emissaries, their ambassadors. Not the only ones. There's many ambassadors to these beautiful beings. But there is, I think we're just jumping into the teachings here. There is this need in the world, like in our lives and in the world, for the Divine Mother presence to be felt more than it has been. Now, Zoe, I know she has a specific teaching, being reminded of Zoe, what you keep hearing over and over and over and over. So I'll, let you share that. But it's like, that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here together, because I moved to Mexico for many reasons. There were some logical reasons, earthly reasons, but I also, more than anything, knew it was a divine calling that I was supposed to be here. And so it's no accident, right? That Zoe and I have been talking about this connection. And even though it was lovely to have these other transmissions with Zoe when I was in Chicago, now I'm like literally in Mexico, right? There's something very different being on this land that Guadalupe, chose to appear in. That isn't to say that, it's like I'm very mindful of saying that, because if there's something about the Divine Mother, is she's generous and she's unconditionally loving to all beings. No country has like a claim on the Divine Mother. It's for everyone. And yet there is something about her form as Guadalupe and her form as Ériu that Zoe and I are honestly uncovering ourselves, right? We're going into our meditation, into our initiations. Yes, we also do some nerdy research because we both like to do that a lot, but it's more what is coming to us from our heart. So as I was listening to Zoe talk about her creations, I was really thinking about all of your creations and what is coming. How is the Divine Mother woven into your creations? Everything you're birthing, whether it's a blanket, a book, a business, a store, a class that you're birthing. Maybe it's the way you interact with people, but it's really that question. I think for Zoe and I, both of us, it's about bringing all of this to the practical level, right? To the earthly level. So, Zoe went through a lot of initiations before she was able to birth Ériu blankets, right? And everything that's unfolding. That's the tangible aspect of it that's so needed in the world. I went through a whole bunch of things until I was able to become here live on YouTube, and now I'm on episode 64. Of course, there's almost 300 videos on YouTube that I've done. So it's like that's the tangible form that's we need. So the Divine Mother, it's not just this like, oh, let's just pray with the Divine Mother and feel her love. That's amazing. And we're also here to create and birth. So Zoe, if you can share, and at any point with anything that we're saying, if you have a comment or something you want to share, or if you want to share in the chat what you're birthing, what you're creating, or maybe you're pregnant with it, right? There's something that you're like, I know I meant to birth this thing and I have fears, or it just hasn't happened yet, or I'm unsure. But if there's anything you want to share, please feel free to put it here so we could all witness it and bless it together, right? It's like we're here midwifing each other. So if you can share about the Divine Mother, before, actually, yes, let's do that. Before we get into Ériu and Guadalupe a little bit more, can you share just the message of simplicity that has been coming to you as far as something we need to just remember over and over?
Yeah, just, the message that I keep receiving, to share is one that I, need to be reminded of myself. And it's just that the Divine Mother has never left us. That the Divine Mother is within, and we all have the capacity to access her. The truth and the reality of that is, it comes out in the story of Ériu, which I'll share in a while, but is, there has been a dormancy, she has been absent. Well, she has never left us. There's been a dormancy. We have experienced a separation from her. We have been severed in our connection from her, but she has been here all the while. And, we have a direct access to her. We are her children. We are part of her. So for whatever reasons in the history of our planet, and, significant that everyone here has chosen to be here on this planet at this time, for the reclamation and the resurgence and the remembrance of the Divine Mother, there is a reason that we all chose to partake in that. I love how you say, how do we work with this on a practical level? What's the meaning of that? It's not just, I pray to the Divine Mother and like everything will be cool. Because we have to, we have all collectively experienced that severing from her, and we all have to make peace and reclamation with that. Often that plays out in our relationships with our own mother, reclaiming that relationship, reclaiming other relationships that involve that maternal healing part, which then aids in both our reclamation of the Divine Mother relationship and then the human relationships. But for me, just as a daily example, because I've been working with reclaiming this energy for quite some time, and I still forget to really bring that in work when I have so much to do and I have very little time. I now never, even if I only have an hour to work or 5 hours, I never jump straight into it. I always make myself sit in meditation for ideally as long as possible, depending on the time, but at least 10 minutes, and feel into that Divine Mother presence, that divine feminine presence of receptivity, of tuning in, intuition, feeling, okay, feeling my connection to the earth, feeling my connection to her, and then asking on a very practical level, what is the most important thing for me to do today? I always ask that now in work, because sometimes I could just jump straight into work and have a list and be like, I got to do all that, jump straight in and be, on a hamster wheel. Often I get directed to do the opposite thing first. And I know that there's a divine timing, and that is the magic of the Divine Mother. She will guide in that sometimes non-linear way what is the most important thing to do through those aspects of her which involve magnetism and birthing and intuition, receptivity. Miracles occur. So that's not the way of the world, which is much about doing and ticking boxes and list checking. And honestly, I was thinking, if I was to work in that way, I would never get anything done, because there would be an endless amount of tasks. I can only afford to work with the Divine Mother, which is about ease and effortlessness. And that can seem, you're like, how can this be easy or effortlessness? And really working with her. So that's how I really, and when you do start to do that, you do start to develop that trust, and the relationship strengthens with her, because you see, even though this is so paradoxical to our world of ease and almost less efforting, more is done. That for me is an experience of working with the Divine Mother in my day-to-day life.
Yeah. Thank you, Zoe. Yes. And I really want to go back to what first, there were so many things you said. I was resisting taking notes because I was like, I'm going to forget, but I was like, I'm just going to trust the Divine Mother that she's going to remind me of what I want to go back to. First thing though, that Zoe said, it's so easy to miss, right? It's like the Divine Mother has never left us. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, get to the other stuff, right? But it's like, no, this is what we need to understand, is that there has been a very intentional programming, campaign, whatever you want to call it, to desecrate the Divine Mother, dismiss the Divine Mother, to put up this image of God, the divine, as male, as father, right? And sometimes stern, judgmental father. That has been done for lifetimes. So there is a very deep programming that has as Zoe said, severed us, right? Has felt like it severed us from the Divine Mother. And yet she never was gone, right? She was never gone. She was always there. And I actually feel if those of you who are drawn to this always retained that connection, maybe there was somehow, some way, and maybe you didn't call it the Divine Mother, but some way that you felt her love, her tenderness, her ferocity even, right? So that's that first piece. And it really reminds me of, one of my teachings, right? When I talk about your soul is always with you, right? It's like these things, because that when Zoe shared that with me, she was like, I feel like that's so simple, like it's so obvious. And I was like, no, it's like we need to like repeat that to ourselves over and over and over, like, oh, the Divine Mother is always with me. And also, to another thing that Zoe was saying is we have many wounds, as I just said, but also sometimes with our own biological mother. I know for me, that's been one of my biggest wounds, was my disconnection with my own biological mother. And so it's been a whole journey of healing that and not projecting that onto the Divine Mother. And this isn't to judge our mothers. Our mothers, they're, if you had that experience, they had their own wounds that were passed on to them. But this is to say that part of the work with the Divine Mother is noticing where we have resistance to her, right? To her love. And I know for me, I'm leading a Creatrix Temple. Some of you are part of that, where for 3 months, there's something we're birthing. And the thing that came to me, I wanted it to be something else. But what came to me when we were in our meditation was like the Divine Mother. And for me, the Divine Mother, I work a lot with her as Our Lady of Guadalupe, or as Mother Mary. And Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe, said to me, she's like, you love yourself as I love you. And I was like, how sad. That part of me was like, that seems like either too hard or kind of boring. I want to birth my book, right? I was like, I want to work on my book. Why are you? But it was like, no, this is the message, right? Like, love yourself like I love you. And then what I realized I had to work on is, wait, how does she love me? How loved am I by her? And it was like, oh my gosh, she like loves me a lot, right? It's like realizing we don't understand. We can have resistance to that amount of love. Part of it because of our trauma, our wounding, but also part of it, the programming of the world. There is a intentional matrix program, whatever you want to call it, that separates us from that, right? So it is very courageous. It's not naive or indulgent or woo-woo or whatever labels have been put on it to say, wait, I want to reclaim and declare every day that the Divine Mother is with me and she loves me unconditionally, that she is like in love with all of you, in love with me. It's like just, and so when we get to the practical aspect, as Zoe was saying, and that's the question for you, I want you to be with that, like, how can the Divine Mother is with you already, right? And how can you bring her into your life more? How can she be part of your like practical everyday? Where does she need to be more present? Not because she's holding back, because you're holding back, we're holding back. It's not that she's like, oh, I don't want to help you with your business. No, she's like, I'm here for everything and anything 24/7. We're the ones that are holding back. And so I want to bring it to Our Lady of Guadalupe and Ériu, because I know that this is what we came with, but we wanted to set the foundation with the Divine Mother to understand that Guadalupe and Ériu are like representations of her, as are many others, right? And so I'm going to hand it over to you, since I just did a whole long thing, Zoe, and just tell us a little bit. I know you shared in the beginning about Ériu and Ireland being named for her, but if you can share, I know this would take hours to share everything, but just whatever comes to your heart in this moment for people who either might never have heard of her or have heard just some little bit of her, but it's like, what is wanting to be shared about her so that we could all connect with her as well? So tell us.
Yeah, well, Ériu was, a queen known as the Sovereignty Queen of Ireland. Sovereignty queens, they were appointed, they were the ones who actually appointed the kings. So it was very much, that community was very much in reverence of the Divine Mother. That was the kind of ordering. And so they did a lot through sacred marriage, through hierogamic union. They did a lot of ritual around that, but there was always an order of kind of this respect around the Divine Mother. So the kind of story of Ériu, when the invaders came to Ireland, as our history kind of calls it, this series of invasions came. Ériu defended the land. Like her husband and the kings were slain, and herself and her sisters went up to a famous hill, and they tried to negotiate with the invaders. And in the end, they agreed to recede under the condition that her name would be remembered. So she seeded herself into the land. She seeded her name, that remembrance, that presence, before she left, and her tribe receded. And there are many stories about how that happened. But essentially their energy was seeded into the land, which is, they could see and they knew what was coming. That was an eon coming, that was prophetic, was, who knows, it was a period in time that had to pass. And just as the Divine Mother has never left, they never left, so she seeded herself into the landmass in Ireland, which people feel the name of Ireland is carried, which I love. Ireland is called Ireland, and nobody knows that it's called after Ériu, even many Irish people, which I just love, is such a way she seeded her name, obviously and not obviously at the same time. Until really the time is now. The sovereignty goddesses, they had a prophecy as well, where they spoke of their kind of last final battle, about the darkest of times that would come, how the land would be barren and families would be severed, communities would be destroyed, and they described a very dark time. And they also prophesied at the same time the land would be fertile, there would be abundance, families would be unified. So it was these two prophecies at the same time, which I really believe speaks of the time we're in now, which is a time of prophecy. This is the time of remembering the Divine Mother's presence. It's the time of remembering and re-embodying her energy, which has never left, but due to what was incoming, had to be almost remain dormant or remain shapeshift into different names and places and personas that people could follow her or not. However, she never left. So I feel like that prophecy speaks to all of us here who are here having these conversations in remembrance of the Divine Mother energies. We're bringing her back into remembrance. We're, growing that seed that was seeded into, when they talk about seeding into the land, they're always talking about our bodies, our fields, our energy fields, where the Divine Mother is within us, and we have that right of access because she has always been here. So this prophecy of these two times converging, the darkest of times and the most brightest of times, is what we're here for, and I believe that all of us here remembering and having these conversations are part of this prophecy, that are designed to be, chose to be, anchoring this light in the darkest of times, so that we can really anchor that timeline to take over. Because definitely I think the dark time has had its time, so it's coinciding with the revival and the remembrance and the embodiment of the Divine Mother.
Thank you, Zoe. That's beautiful. And I've taken my Guadalupe shawl off right now just because I've told Zoe before we started, I was like, I am so hot. It's like I'm having like this heat. So as you're talking, I'm like, oh my gosh. But yes. And I love what you shared because it really this time where the Divine Mother was revered in Ireland, and then as your stories talk about the invaders coming in, right, and that aspect of it, and yet her seeding herself into the land and saying, okay, we'll step back because they prophesized, right? They saw these dark times coming, but guess what? We're not really leaving, right? We're still here. And so when we step into Our Lady of Guadalupe, it's so similar, right? Because here we are in Mexico, where there was indigenous, there was the Aztecs, there was the Mayans, there was many, many groups. And so we're talking, well, I'll get into that. So they were here, and there was a devotion to the Divine Mother, right? There was a devotion to Tonantzin, which in Nahuatl means great divine mother, sacred mother, great mother. There was a devotion to her. And then the conquistadores, as they call them here in Mexico, came, right, to take over the land, right? That's what happened. There was a lot of bloodshed as well. And there was a prophecy in the indigenous groups foreshadowed by Tonantzin, right? They would hear her crying. She would say, my children. She was crying for her children. Now, then it got twisted to some myth about La Llorona. Like it got twisted in the crier woman. It's a whole other thing. But that was the origin of it, that she was crying because she saw the dark times, the bloodshed that was coming. But she also knew to share, I am not going to leave, even though there's going to be these dark times. So when she showed up 10 years, when she appeared, right, to Juan Diego, as the story goes, right, 10 years after the Aztec Empire fell. So it was like 1531, right, 1521, when the Aztec Empire is considered to have fallen to the Spaniards. And so at that point, 10 years after, where this appearance comes of Our Lady of Guadalupe, well, she wasn't called Our Lady of Guadalupe, she was this loving being that showed up. The indigenous people of the land remembered, knew who she was. They were like, it's Tonantzin, it's the Sacred Mother, she's here, right? And yet, similar to Ériu, she knew, I can't really show up as Tonantzin, she's like, it's going to be her shape-shifting that she did, got shape-shifted and brought into the Catholic faith, as similar to Bridget in Ireland, right? And so she has always been present. She's that divine mother, knowing there were all these dark times, all this bloodshed, all this death, and yet she was going to be present. And as so he said, these times, there is bloodshed, there is suffering, there is all this darkness, and yet we are the bridge, right? I do feel, as we're having this conversation, as we join together, as the priestess transmissions are part of this, it's like to know, like, oh, we're the bridge. We're bridging from those darkest of times to actually that other timeline, the true matrix. The word matrix, I'm not going to go too much into this, but it keeps coming, so I'm going to share. In Spanish is matriz, and that means womb. So matriz is the womb. And so you might have heard a lot about the false matrix and all of that. I'm not going to go into it too much, except to know you can think of that matrix as just the lie of separation, that we're separate from the Divine Mother. It appears so real. And yet what we're doing is we're birthing the true matrix, the womb, la matriz of the Divine Mother. That's why she is rising up here, right? That's why we're here together. And that's why this attunement, when I was like, first I was like, we're going to do an activation. And I was like, oh no, she's saying attunement. Then I was like, a healer attunement. And I was like, oh no, she's saying a Divine Mother attunement. We were both like, okay, yes. Like, what does that mean exactly? But then we realized it's like, oh, it's an attunement to attune to, as Zoe said, that energy of the Divine Mother in us that has never left us. As all attunements do, to clear the stuff. And if you're here, I know you have been doing major clearing already. You have even if you didn't call it that, I know you have. And so this attunement it's like when you get a stronger wireless connection in your house, right? It's like internet connection. It's like we're attuning, and we're here together to attune through Our Lady of Guadalupe, who has seen all this bloodshed, all this fall, all these lies, all these inversions, and stayed present through Ériu, who's so similar. I mean, their stories to me, it's such parallels, and I know there's so many more around the world. But these two divine beings that are here and are saying, yes, we're here as your sponsors, divine sponsors, mentors, midwives, to expand our capacity to receive this attunement and to be able to attune to the divine mother energy as we go through our world. Yes, in our businesses, yes, when we're with our kids, but yes, also when we watch the news and our heart is breaking because there's all of this death and suffering and it feels impossible to the ego mind to fix it. But we know that nothing is impossible to the divine mother, right? And so that's what this attunement is about. And so I want to ask you, Zoe, before we go into channeling this attunement for everybody, what is with Ériu? You did such a beautiful job of describing her. Like, what are some specific things we can tune to her for help with? Like, I feel like each of the, like, if you connect with Kuan Yin, Green Tara, Mother Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe, I feel like they all bring, it's all the same, ultimately, divine love, unconditional love. But because I'll share something with Guadalupe, and it might be just something that comes to you in your heart right now, but like, what are some things that specifically, maybe it's like, oh, like Ériu would be such a wonderful mentor for that, or a wonderful guide for that, or a wonderful healer for that? Like, what comes to you? I know I didn't ask you this before, but this is the question that's coming forward right now. So what comes to your heart about that?
Yeah, well, really, I feel, birthing, she is associated with fertility. So and to connect with her, I would absolutely say to be in nature, to they always talk about our right to our direct connection to the earth and our direct connection to our divinity, to the divine mother. Like, that is our birthright. Whatever is going on with false matrices and whatever distortions are in between, we have a right that we can, as soon as we connect to the earth, as soon as we put our feet on the earth, sit with a plant, sit under a tree, we have that capacity within us as humans, to bypass any distortion and really call in that connection. So I really invite people to feel her in that way. And that's why so many of our sacred sites in Ireland, they all, they're all around the land. They're all in the form of wombs. All of our sacred sites, so it's very much about, earth and birthing connection, womb connection, tuning into the divine mother, like that. And when we do that, it's like we're automatically in a pillar, connected directly to our divinity, to the divine mother. It's like a reliable plug-in, charging point.
Beautiful. Zoe, can you, because I want to repeat some of the things you said. There were three things that I thought were so important. Can you show your card, like it has the Ériu shape, because it'll give everyone a visual. So this is like, I know it's so beautiful and golden, but it's hard. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see it there.
So
And
yeah,
I'll
that's
send a picture through my newsletter along with the coupon that she's going to share so you could see. But you can see that outline of that beautiful goddess Ériu. Maybe she's wearing like
yeah,
a head, like his little headband. So oh, there we
yeah.
go. That's about it.
Yes,
There we go.
this
It's kind
triple
of, yes.
solar
So just stay
goddess.
there. Zoe, so if you can share it, just leave it there. And so three things that stuck to me with Ériu. She said birthing, right? So for you, everyone, whatever you are birthing right now, maybe some of you are birthing a child, but maybe it's something else, right? This new chapter in your life, this quality of joy or more trust or more peace, or maybe it's a business or a book, all the things we said before. In this moment, notice, what am I birthing right now? And so Ériu is a wonderful goddess for you to call on for that. Your connection to nature, which I know can sound like, oh, okay, but it was like the way Zoe said it, it was like it's your natural like plug in. And I don't even know if you noticed you said this, or you said it could bypass any distortion. And it was like, oh, so think of all the distortions in the world, right? All the ways things are upside down, right? In order to get things done, you need to hustle, 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 and do as many things as you can. That's actually not true, right? There's all these distortions. So to me, thank you, Zoe, Ériu is coming in and saying, call on me whenever you're feeling that you're caught in this distortion. It's like I just feel like her pristine presence and that connection to the womb. I know I've been so blessed since knowing Zoe to have visited Ireland twice. And I've told Zoe this both times when I left, is especially strong in the first time because we did a lot of planetary grid work. We spent a lot of time on the land. We were like in the land. I literally, when I was in the Dublin airport, my heart was so sad to be leaving the land. I was sad to be leaving Zoe for sure, but it was also like, I literally felt like, oh my gosh, like this connection to the land. And it was so, I felt like a grief. Like it took me forever to go to the part where if you're American, if you're in the United, you have to go to this other part of the airport. And I kept staying in the Dublin part, like the longest part, because I just felt such a sadness. And I realized, oh my gosh, there is that. And I'm seeing it's like, oh, the seeding of the Divine Mother is so strong. And because we did such earth work, such nature work when we were there, and you don't have to, I mean, travel to Ireland by all means, but you don't have to do that. Wherever you are, this is coming really strongly. Connect with the land and anchor the Divine Mother. Maybe you just put a crystal in some part of a park where you go to, but it was like all of that engaging such intimacy with the land and with Ériu in that way was so powerful. And so that then when I came to Mexico, I felt again that like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling that same feeling of this like deep connection to the land here. And so with Guadalupe, what I would share, and obviously we're not suggesting these are the only things you can connect with them about. You go into your own heart and trust what comes to you with connecting with Ériu and Guadalupe. But, one of the things, and I've said this many times, that Guadalupe said when she appeared was to Juan Diego, who was worried because as many times the Divine Mother asks of us to do things that maybe don't make a lot of sense, right? They're scary, or it's like not the right time, as Zoe was saying before. Even, today we had this and Zoe didn't sleep well last night. I didn't sleep well last night. So we like messaged each other like, okay, I guess sleep deprivation must be part of our offering today. Like we're just going to trust. But when Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared in Mexico and she talked to Juan Diego, she had a request from him, right? She was like, go talk to the bishop and tell him to build this chapel. No, this, I would say priestess temple, but that's not the word they used, and it was like, and he was like, they're not going to believe me. They're not going to trust me. He could feel the divinity in her, and he felt so much love from her and to her. One of the things I did in preparation for this is I read the original manuscript of the telling of when she appeared. It was so beautiful, and for some strange reason in New York, but I won't go into that today, but you can access it online. But she was like, trust me, trust me. And, all these things happen where he was like, oh, but I can't do it because of this or that. And then in the third appearance, she was like, am I not here who am your mother? But that's not all she said. She was like, basically said, trust me, I know what's going on in your life. Trust me, I wouldn't ask you to do something that's not going to bless you. So I feel that Guadalupe is really this beautiful being to call on during those times as well, right? It's these times where something is being asked of us that maybe doesn't make logical sense, right? And maybe our intellect is saying, but how is that going to work? Or how can I purchase that and invest that money, for example? I've had a lot of those, right? And it's like, but the Divine Mother is saying, no, am I not here who am your mother? I feel like Guadalupe is also connected to that for those of us who have had broken relationships with our own mother, whatever that looks like. She so comes in with that message as well. And finally, the other thing, and this will lead right into the attunement, and this is why I was so happy when I found this, because I could show you, of course, I have Guadalupe there, like she's all over. But if you look at her image here, right, and see this, and we didn't, this solar ring, right, that's always behind her, right? She always comes with this, like, these rays, right, these, like, rays. And I think Zoe and I think this is a beginning of a class that we could kind of expand on because there's so much we're not going to get to today. But I do feel that Our Lady of Guadalupe we can call on to help us like connect with our own inner sun, right? That solar goddess, that solar aspect within us, right? We're often connected with the moon, right? Male suns, women, moon. But that's something that Zoe and I have been really researching, both intuitively and through actual like research in the earth realm, that there's something always that has been put lower. Nothing against the moon, about the moon, the sun. But it turns out that both Ériu and Guadalupe are solar beings, solar goddesses. Guadalupe is actually standing on the moon, right? So she's like, I'm here as the sun. So I feel like Guadalupe is really also, we call on her as Ériu, right? That's why they work so well together, right? She's like, I will, tap you in to nature, to the earth, I love how you said, bypass any distortion. And Guadalupe is like, am I not here who am your mother? Like, I've got your back. And we can walk in with this like ray of light through whatever distortion, whatever lie, whatever suffering is happening in the world, and be in it, but not of it. Right. So we're going to go into the attunement with that, because I thought we were going to have the attunement at 2:30, but it's 2:46. Well, my time, I know you're all in different times, but that's because I think like that is an anchor, both that bypassing any distortion and calling on that trust that the Divine Mother has our back, that she is surrounding us with that ray of light, that sun, but it's also our sun. Right? It's like, that's what ultimately Ériu and Guadalupe are saying. It's like, yes, there are mentors. Yes, there are guides. Yes, they're with us, but they're like, we're your mirror. We have this. And it's not from the ego. It's from the most humble place to know, like, how can I deny who I really am when the world needs it so much, needs us to be who we are? So we're going to go into the attunement now. So I'm inviting everyone, whether you're here live or watching the replay, to step into a place of receptivity. So what does that mean? It means that you are setting the intention of letting yourself receive this attunement. I know this seems so simple. Like, well, of course, if I'm here, yeah, I want to receive it. But there's levels of receiving. So let's all of us set that intention. If you feel ready, you're a sovereign. So if you're like, I don't know if I'm ready, that's totally your decision. But if you feel ready to set the intention of, I'm going to receive this attunement, I'm going to let myself receive in the most profound way than I've ever before. And your brain might be like, well, how would I? You don't need to know how. Just set that pristine intention. And Zoe and I are both opening as channels. I will verbally lead it, but Zoe's she's also, opening the channel here together. So you're receiving an attunement through two channels right now. So know that. So I really want you to take the time to ground, feel the earth underneath you. And I'm also getting the message that this is recorded. So you can come back and listen to this attunement over and over and over and receive it in deeper ways each time. But let's say in this moment, you are going to be open to receiving it as the most profound way as possible. And I invite you to bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your womb. So one hand over your heart center, right at the center of your chest. And then one hand, you can't see it because I'm sitting here, right? But in your womb, around your navel. Shoulders relaxed, elbows relaxed. And just take a moment to really feel this connection between the heart and the womb. The heart and the womb. The heart and the womb. And when the attunement begins, there's going to be a clearing of your whole channel, but really strongly in your heart and womb. So you don't need to keep your hands like this unless you want to, you can. But if that's distracting, you can now relax your hands. So whatever feels good to you. And so here we are today, Zoe and I channeling this divine mother attunement. What does that mean? It's not coming from us, it's coming through us. It's coming through us. We are vessels, as you are vessels as well. And so we welcome each of your higher selves, your souls, to be here in charge of what you receive today. We ask that this attunement be for your highest good, your highest timeline, rooted in unconditional love, for the blessing of all the people you love, all the people you're here to serve and lead, for the earth itself. And Our Lady of Guadalupe steps before you as Ériu as well. We welcome Guadalupe and Ériu into the space. And they are so loving that they are with all of us and they are with each of us individually. And I just feel how delighted they are to be invited by us in this way. And their smiles remind me to bring in this joy and lightheartedness to all of this. And so I invite you to visualize hovering over the crown of your head a beautiful lotus flower that is opening, opening, opening. And underneath your feet, your roots are going deep into the heart of the earth, deep into the heart of the earth, deep into the heart of the earth, and the medicine that exists wherever you are. And so at your crown, this lotus is opening. And in hovering over the lotus flower, there is a golden light, a golden sphere of light. And Ériu and Guadalupe, they suddenly got very tall and they're blessing this golden light. They're bringing in, Ériu is bringing her these beautiful rays and codes of light that she's infusing in this beautiful sphere, this beautiful grid of light that's hovering over the crown of your head. So she's bringing it on. I know Zoe right now, she's channeling all of that, whatever is coming from that lineage, coming, filling this golden grid with so much love, right? To help you tune into nature in such a deep way, the medicine to accelerate the birthing that you are going through, to accelerate it in a loving, safe, gentle way, and to bypass any distortion. So all of that is being put into this grid of light in these prophetic times, as Zoe spoke of, yes. And as that happens in Guadalupe, she's coming in too, and she's bringing in, right? She's bringing in this medicine from Guadalupe, from Tonantzin, right? This medicine of the mother, right? This medicine of this light that is emanating and will emanate always around you, always being in the right place at the right time, she's saying. Anchoring the light in the darkest of places, always being safe, safe, safe. So Ériu and Guadalupe are just creating this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. They're mixing them together. They're braiding them together. They're these codes of light. You don't need to understand, but it's all being prepared. Like they're preparing the most beautiful cake for you. They're saying they're just like this recipe, just all of it. And you're just being in this place of receiving as they prepare that for you. And as they do that, what I'm being guided to do is I'm sending Reiki from the crown of your head through all your chakras to clear any blockages, any distortions, any old programming, anything that is there that will block in any way this attunement. And of course, your higher self is in charge. So we're clearing the crown chakra, the third eye, the throat, clearing the heart, Clearing the solar plexus, sacral and root. From the back to the front of the chakras across all timelines. Your higher self is in charge. Your higher self knows what needs to be cleared. You're preparing as Guadalupe and Ériu. They're just continuing to fill that grid work with light. And they want you to know that they are customizing it for each of you individually. They know you by your name. They know what you are going through and what you have gone through. So it is customized exactly for you. We don't need, our logical mind can't comprehend how that happens, and that's okay. Feet really grounded. Just asking Archangel Michael, who stepped in right now, he's just clearing everybody's aura. We're just preparing to receive. Clearing the auras. And all the angels are just taking any debris, taking it to the light. Okay. And so your higher self asks you, are you ready for this attunement? And to be clear, what I'm hearing is if you are here, you are ready, but you are sovereign and you always have free will. Ériu and Guadalupe will not love you any less if in this moment you're like, I don't know if I want this right now. That is your choice. But if in this moment, even if parts are nervous, that's okay. But in this moment, if your answer is yes, then say that to your higher self. Yes, yes, I am open to receive this attunement. Yes, yes. And so as that happens now, this beautiful cauldron filled with this golden nectar, like the golden honey, is being poured down the crown of your head. This beautiful attunement of the Divine Mother. She loves you so much. She reminds you that she's always been there. She's attuning you to that connection that's actually never been split. So this beautiful golden nectar, this golden attunement to the Divine Mother's love, the Divine Mother's wisdom, the Divine Mother's peace that passes all understanding. You are blessed and you are a blessing. You are blessed and you are a blessing. Be the answered prayer you came here to be. Be the answered prayer you came here to be. And as this golden light all comes down through your whole body, blessing every part, it goes into the earth and blesses the earth underneath you. And then a golden path appears before you. And that is the golden path that represents this path as you walk it with the Divine Mother. Always with you. In the big things and the little things, in the profound and the mundane, as she told me a few days ago. When you're washing dishes, when you're doing a talk, when things feel beautiful, when things feel terrible, when you're crying, when you're laughing, when you're resting, when you're exhausted, all of it, she's there. And now I'm hearing if you have any personal request in this moment, say those to her now. Any personal request, desire, birth. Nothing is too small or too big, she's saying. There's no judgment. Whatever you need help with, ask now. You have been heard. And so we bring the palms of our hands together. We ask your higher self to integrate this attunement across all 4 levels of your being, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, across all dimensions of time, that your Akashic records be rewritten, that they show that you had this attunement today, and to know that your higher self, your soul, is in charge of all of this for your highest good and the highest good of all. We bow to each other and to our own heart with a namaste. Namaste. Let's take some cleansing breaths. Drink some water. If there's some water you want to drink, I'm going to drink some. Whew. And so, if there's anything you want to share, of course, please feel free to do so. I know sometimes after this, it's hard to, you're kind of still in the space, so feel free to come back and add it in the comments. I want to open the space because I know Zoe will have to leave, soon, but I want to open the space for Zoe to share if, I was sharing out loud, but Zoe was here also channeling, this attunement with me. So I want to just open a space for her if there's anything she wants to share about that. And then I will open the space, any questions, any comments, and also pull some oracle cards and share about the coupon. Okay, so that's what's going to happen now. If you need to leave, we understand. You can watch it in the replay. So go ahead, Zoe. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. That was so beautiful. I was just so present with you before you said the words. Whenever you said them, I was just receiving this. They were showing me Ériu with this honey. They were saying, receive this attunement like honey and return to it like honey. The way honey flows just so like certainly and just so smoothly and easily into all the places and spaces within us. That's what I feel we can receive from that attunement, and how kind of luxurious and full and nourishing that honey is. It's interesting because in many ritual and ceremonies that the sovereignty goddesses took part in, they used mead, which is a sacred drink made from honey. So I really, really felt that we can, that's what they said, to continue to receive this attunement and receive and return to it. Like we're taking that honey, receiving it, being nourished by it and nurtured by it as it continues. That's what they said, just continue to flow into us.
Yeah,
thank you.
beautiful, Zoe. I love that, and I think what you said, return to it, right? I think that's really important. It's like, because I thought it was going to be like a lightning bolt. I was like, okay, the Divine Mother is going to come and it's going to be like, all this. But then it was like, it's like honey. It was like this, like very like that flow. Nothing is an accident, right? With the Divine Mother, it's like everything is. And so if you're literally guided to buy honey from local bees or connect with honey or take it in, or even, I don't know, I just saw you putting honey on your third eye or doing a honey scrub, like you might be guided to do that as well. But I think it's like, there was something about that it came as honey, as nectar. And I was so struck by how loving it was. It was like, everyone was like, bring all these things. And then Guadalupe was like, oh, we're going to put it was like such a loving, like they were creating the most delicious, like cake, stew, soup. I don't even know. It was like this, like we're putting all of this in this attunement. And remember what they said. They said, this is specific to you. They customized it to each of you. It was like each of you have your own initiations, your own things that you're going through, whether you're here live or watching the replay. So I love that, that was something that they really wanted you to know. It's that, again, that remembering of the Divine Mother. She knows you by your name. She knows you that intimately. So, is there anything else you want to add, Zoe, before I kind of share about the coupon and I'll do the oracle cards? Is there anything else that comes?
No, that was it. That was really just like the honey, the sweet honey, and like, just to enjoy it as well, because honey is sweet and it's, it's all the good things. Like you say, I love that
Absolutely.
they came in that form, which is so supportive, nourishing, sweet, and fun, and just continues to. I feel like really like that grid of light and honey. When you think of honey in a honeycomb, and our energy fields, it just like flows over any fraying part of us, any blocked part of us. It just smoothly kind of moves through it and um, heals it in that way. So there's so many. I do agree with you. Some integration with honey would be really nice.
Yeah. And also with the bees, right? So you might see bees. I know some of you are in places where it's cold, but I wouldn't be surprised if you still see a bee or there's a picture of a bee. There's something, we're like the bees for the Divine Mother, right? That it's also like, oh, we're also like pollinating, right? There's so much. I feel like there's so much that you will uncover on your own. And so I do want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. As you know, the Priestess transmissions are every Wednesday, 2:30 Central. Today was a special time because Zoe and I were doing it together. And so I would love to see you here again. And also through my newsletter, I will send a 10% coupon code. So you can, and with Ériu, the link to Zoe's company, so you can click on it and look at it and see if there's anything you're drawn to. Oh, speaking, isn't this color, is this color, is there something about bees? What am I
Yeah,
thinking?
that's called honeybee. Yeah.
Maybe. This is my first blanket. So if you're excited to do that, I will have the coupon code. So and if you're not on my newsletter, I'll put the link in the description of that. And then also, as you know, I do offer on my website, I'll put that link as well, a free breakthrough consultation. So if you want to connect privately, I love, there's so many of you that follow my teachings and my classes, and it's different to just meet also one-on-one. So if you want to do that, if you're guided to do that, even if you're a little scared of doing that, it might be part of the integration or the next step for you. And it is a free offering, a free session. You can read all about it on my website. I have some sessions open in November. They're ending soon. They're getting filled up. So if you want to do that, do not hesitate. And if you look at it and and you're like, oh, that time doesn't work for me, I might be able to find something for you. So don't hesitate and email me for that. Okay. So that was all the reminders. I do have my oracle cards here. Zoe, I want to check with you. Because I don't even know if we said Zoe has two little daughters, so I think last time one of Jazzy joined us, she was like, I must be part of the transmission. It was all very lovely. So I just want to check with you and to honor your time. Like, are
Yeah.
you okay
No, I'm
staying?
here. I'm here for a few more minutes. I'm not getting any crying baby yet. You'll
Okay,
hear.
awesome. Great. So I have time right now, and I could totally do just a quick, I'm not going to channel a reading as much as lovely as that is. That would take forever. But I could totally pull a card for each person if you give me permission to do that. So I'm going to pull one card for all of us. And then, because there's 7 of us right now, right? So, and then if you're like, yes, please pull a card for me, just put it in the chat. And Zoe, you can help me do that. The problem, I know sometimes there's a delay, so I'm like, okay, nobody wants one. So, and then I get off. But this is a card. This is from the Priestess deck, Priestess of the Light. So I'm going to do this for all of us, whether you're here on the live or you're watching the replay. Okay, what is like a message from the Divine Mother right now about your priestess medicine? Let's see. Oh my gosh, I've never seen this card. Brilliant beliefs. What? Luminous life force, personal power. Look at that. Amazing
Oh, wow.
card. Brilliant beliefs, because
That
this
is,
is what was being cleansed, all our outdated beliefs, right? All of our,
yeah.
if I shine, if I let my light be seen, people are going to judge me, people are going to leave me, people are going to, and you know what? Maybe that'll happen because people are wounded and they might judge us. That's okay. But this is saying, like, look at this, your personal power. Oh my gosh, I just love, love, love this card. So
Such
look
a
at that.
cool card.
Yeah, you
It
can
looks
take
like
it and see.
attunement.
Yes, it's like yeah, it's like this is like,
Mm.
that's what I feel. It's like we just had this attunement. Now you have this light and you can radiate out and take, like this woman is doing here, this beautiful goddess. All right. Okay, so let me see. Does anybody? Yes, a card for me. All right, Barb, I'm going to pull a unicorn card for you. And then if you tell me who, and I'm just going to do it fast. It's recorded so then you can go back and see. Okay. Okay. This one is jumping up for you, Barb. Number 6, Enter the Magic. I should give credit though. This was the Priestess deck by Sandra Ann Taylor. And the unicorn is Magic of the Unicorns by, what is her name? Diane Cooper. Okay. So you got Barb, enter the magic, live in the now, seize the moment. Live in the now, seize the moment. All right, my dear. Okay, this is like speed dating with oracle cards. Okay, Suzanne, I'm going to do yours. Suzanne. All right, Divine Mother, what message for Suzanne? Listen to your heart. Number 7, awaken psychic abilities. Tune in to the infinite.
Oh, wow.
All right. YouTube user. I don't remember what your name was. I'm so sorry calling you YouTube user right now, but I'm going to see. Was it Sylvia? Maybe. So I want to go. All right. Oh my gosh. There we go. Open to abundance. Believe you deserve. Accept plenty and prosperity. That gorgeous. Beautiful. And then I'm going to go to Rose. Rose, oh, from France. Thank you. All right. Rose Oasis. Is there a little one trying to join us, Zoe?
Yeah.
Rose Oasis. That's great. Access your gifts is number 10. Explore your treasure chest. Accept who you truly are. I mean, come on, everybody. This is like, all right. And then I think I have Roxana. And I think then that's it. I'll do one for you, Zoe, and then I'll do one for me, and then we'll be done. But Roxana, you first. Roxana, soul healing. Align with your essence. See your true colors. Look at that. It's beautiful. All right, so then I'm just going to do one for you, Zoe, and then one for me, and then we will be done. Thank you, everyone. Our longest transmission ever, but that's okay. Zoe, what is the message from the Divine Mother from you? Well, she had like 3 messages, but I have to pull just one. What's the most important one? Oh, the freedom of truth. Communicate honestly. Be who you truly are. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Look at that guy. He's like the guy who told me better.
All right, so I'll do one for me and then we'll be done. What's the message for me, Divine Mother? Your personal unicorn. Bathe in pure love. Stay open to unicorn magic. All right, I am going to do that. That's so beautiful.
Oh,
all right,
gorgeous.
everyone. Oh, I think Lori, were you just the last one maybe that didn't say yes before? So I'm going to pull this one for you, and then we're going to go. Lori, what's the message for Lori? Uncord relationships. Let go now. Forgiveness is freedom. Beautiful. All right, and you know all those cards are for all of us too, right? If you saw them, there's something in each of these messages that's for everyone. Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, all of you who are watching the replay. Thank you, Zoe. I'm so excited that you're able to do this, and we will see you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Bye.